Lisette, thank you so much for having me. Let's start at the beginning. When did you first realize that you were good at arranging flowers?
I am from Southern California, and so I was raised around flowers and beautiful plants, and so I've always had a love for flowers. But it began when I moved here to Fort Wayne. I was new in the area and I needed something to do and keep myself busy.
Yeah.
So I started working for an event center. And there they felt that I was creative and they threw me in with the florist. And so I just learned from her a little. And then during the pandemic, it's when it all started because I was at home, I was bored, and I didn't want to go crazy. So I started landscaping. And so I redid my whole mom's front yard.
Yeah.
And so from then, because I couldn't visit my friends, and I know they all love flowers, so I started making arrangements for them and dropping them off at their homes. Well, one of my friends, she really loved what I did, and so she's like, how much would you charge me for one of these? I'm like, I'm not gonna charge you. Right. And so she said, please, let me buy a few from you because I wanna give them to my friends too.
Wow.
So she was my first client, and she kind of encouraged me to open up what Lisette Flower is now.
That's crazy. Okay, I was just thinking about you the other day, knowing that this interview was coming up. I went to the grocery store. I love fresh flowers and, bought a silly little bouquet, like plopped it in the vase. And I sort of like futzed around with trying to, and I was like, I am terrible at this. I don't have any sort of eye for the composition. So how long did it take you to feel confident in putting things together in the right spot and making it, I mean, your arrangements are breathtaking, and I can't even take a pre-done bouquet and make it work.
Well, thank you. I felt the same way the first time I was playing with flowers. But a lot of my inspiration and how can I word it? Just trees, plants, gardens. So I look at how they are airy and they just flow, and nothing is very abstract. Everything makes sense.
Yeah.
So the more I look at gardens, the more I feel like, okay, I can do this. And so that is how I felt like I was getting more confident when my little centerpiece looked like a little mini garden. So that's how I felt like, okay, I'm getting better because it looks like someone's front yard. But I've learned that flowers, they love to stay cool. They love their dark spots. Once they're cut, they need to stay hydrated more so than when they were in the ground. So they need to, the more sun, the more they need hydration.
Yeah.
So the less sun, the less they need hydration.
So tell me about your process when it comes to designing for an event or for a specific client. So say I come to you and say, I want you to do the flowers for my wedding, and here is kind of the color palette. From there, are you designing in your head before you even go to the farm, or are you on the job, on the site, like deciding what it's gonna be?
As soon as I have like an interview with the client, I build a proposal, and everything is based on what their theme is, their colors, even their personality. So I take that into consideration when I am going to build a recipe. So I call them flower recipes.
Yeah.
Because you could tell me, oh, I really want my bouquet to have sweet peas. Okay, well, maybe sweet peas are not in season.
Yeah.
So I will have to substitute that with something else. So just depending on the client and how serious they are about a specific flower is what I base myself on. But I want my flower arrangement to represent what you want to represent for your special day.
Okay, now what happens if I come to you and say, I don't know what I want, so you do it. You come up with something beautiful.
I think those have been the best weddings because I feel full trust.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you come to me, it's because you already like my work.
Yes.
So if you're giving me that freedom, I feel honored and I do my best. And so those are the times where just the work seems to work all around because you've allowed me to do what you want me to do. So it's just freedom. When you give an artist freedom, then they create.
Sure. Okay, tell me what it's like to put an arrangement together, say a centerpiece. Do you know when it's done? So many artists tell me, painters are like, it's just hard to know when you're done. Do you have a definitive sense of, okay, that's it?
I have the same problem.
You want to keep adding a little more.
I have to step away.
Yeah.
So I've learned that especially I think the most challenging piece for a wedding is the bridal bouquet. So I leave that for last. And say the wedding is Saturday, I will design Friday just your bridal bouquet. I want to make sure I get everything done, so I'll leave the bridal bouquet for Friday and say work 2-3 hours, step aside, wake up really early morning, Saturday morning, around 5, I'm up, rearranging, tweaking, taking away. And so, yes, it's always hard to know when to stop, but it usually takes me 2 days to figure that out for a bridal bouquet.
When I was doing a deep dive, looking at photos of your work, some of the things you put together are so big, they're so vast. How long does it take to put all that together? And are you doing it yourself, or have you hired help?
Yes, I always hire freelancers, and here in Fort Wayne, we have a great team we just collaborate, we help each other a lot.
Nice.
So I have my flower friends that we call each other flower friends.
Yeah.
And so we always have that help. But usually those big arrangements, they're installations, and we have to build or design on site. So that will take us about, I'm gonna say 2-3 hours. But that's just working together. 2 or 3 florists.
Which brings me to my next question. Faux flowers. What is your feeling on them? Do you ever use them? How does that work?
I call them silk flowers because, and I'm not opposed to them. I haven't worked with them. And it's not something that I think I will do in the future either. Live, fresh flowers, they just light up a room. You could tell.
You can, yes.
It's the only living thing in your area, your living room, whatever. You want to place just one stem, and it just transformed the whole room. Where a silk flower,
it's just not,
can't do that.
You're right. It's just not the same. Okay, how do you feel like you have progressed and grown as an artist from when you first decided, okay, I'm gonna kind of make a go of this, to now?
Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still learning, and it's a process. As long as I stay inspired and motivated, I can continue to feel like I'm growing, but it's never gonna end. You know, there's so many things to work with when it comes to flowers. I just did a research, and there's almost 350,000 different types of flowers. And the article I read said that if you were to study every single flower starting today, it would take you at least 958 years. So that just tells you how much you can learn from a flower, and the process and designing everything. It's never ending. Wholesalers around here, we get a lot of our orders from the Netherlands.
Wow.
From South America.
Okay.
But usually during the summertime, I try to purchase local, which is whatever is in season. But yes, we do have limitations depending on what area of the world you are as a florist.
So what's next? What gets you excited about continuing to have a business that really is to bring people joy, to capture beauty and give it out to people.
I think what's next for me, I really want to be able to teach. And so that people can, you don't have to pay a florist all the time.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you just went to the grocery store and you didn't know what you were doing. So I want to be able to share what I know with others.
Yes.
And I've always been a creative person, and I like challenges. So I feel like when I really get into something, I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
And so flowers was one of those things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was in me or not, but I know I love it, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And I just want to continue learning. So
Then I would say it's in you.
Well,
I
thank
can
you.
say with confidence, it's in you. Lisette, I just am stunned by what you are able to put together, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit and chat with me today.
Thank you, Emily.
Arts in Focus on PBS Fort Wayne is funded in part by the Community Foundation of Greater Fort Wayne,